Welcome to a brand new episode of TVGP's Game Club. This time we are talking about 1993's SimCity 2000. I'm your host, Boston. I was playing the PC Special Edition version from GOG. I'm joined, as always, by Moonpier.
Howdy. Same. Playing the special edition with the special features, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
And Musim.
Hello. Exact same version.
All right. Let's talk about all the details of the game here. Released sometime in December 1993 on both the PC personal computers, IBM-based personal computers, and the Macintosh. You might be saying, Boston, what date did that come out on? And I'll say, that's a really great question. It also came out on a whole bunch of other platforms like a RISC OS, which is a thing I haven't thought about in a while, FM Towns, Super NES, OS2, N64, and the best I can tell, the most recent release was on the Game Boy Advance on 2003. Developed and published by Maxis, designed by Will Wright. Here, this is another one of those games that I feel like maybe kind of doesn't need any introduction, but I really do love the end of the promotional blurb from this game on the IGDB. It says, "This is the ultimate classic Maxis city building and management simulation. If this game were any more realistic, it'd be illegal to turn it off." Ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop. Got him.
So that's a SimCity 2020 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Time travel, Metacritic, and OpenCritic didn't exist back then, so we don't have ratings. Appears for the release date, specifically here in the kind of November and December 1993 release. Previously on this year of Critical Misses, Doom. Go listen to that episode. That was a really good one. Gabriel
I'm
Knights.
ignore the fact that you said critical misses right there.
Hey, go listen to Critical Misses too. That's a great show.
Yeah, listen to Dune on critical misses. Listen to Doom on Game Club.
Look at that.
Oh, I thought you were saying Doom. I'm like, did you also do that on your other?
No, we have not covered Dwayne The Rock Johnson's full oeuvre.
Carl Eben, please, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So which Dune is this? Is this the one with the movie clips in it, or is this the Warcraft style game?
Oh, I don't know. Which one's worse? That would probably be the one that we covered on Critical Misses.
If you had if you have the FMV videos,
yeah,
that is the I don't remember what that released on. That was on Sega CD though.
I think so. Yeah. Also coming out, Gabriel Knight's Sins of the Fathers, released by Sierra Online. Which was
Tim Curry voice acting on that one.
Yep, is what I always forget. This was apparently the first Gabriel Knight game featuring the voices of Tim Curry, as we just said, Mark Hamill, Michael Dorn, and Leia Remini. So a whole bunch of now still famous people. Mega Man X, Phantasy Star 4: The End of the Millennium, XCOM: Enemy Unknown, which I believe is the first one. Blake Stone Aliens of Gold, which is a game that maybe only I remember playing, but it was famous for running on the Doom engine, but also a lot of copies were combined with the Gravis gamepad, which I'm not sure if anyone remembers the horror of the pre-360 controller being the de facto control method of shooters on PC. And then Cool Spot, the 7-Up tie-in game that's actually pretty good. I remember liking that game quite a bit. We're going to ask a question we ask every month. Was this game, SimCity 2000, top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked?
I mean, this is top of the pile, right? Everybody knows SimCity 2000.
It's the biggest game this year. Like, for it, this and Doom were like easily the biggest games that were coming out. And I feel like for this year, there was kind of a dividing line of like, oh, I play simulation strategy game. So I'm playing SimCity, and it's like, oh, I'm playing the hardcore violent shooter. I'm playing Doom, of course. You know, that kind of two teams.
Yeah, this was before Doom and Annabelle from Animal Crossing got together and showed that everyone can be friends.
Exactly. We didn't have a Barbenheimer in 1993, sadly, but maybe SimCity and Doom would have come together. All right, let's talk about the game itself. What we liked, what we didn't like. Who wants to start off our convo here?
I could start. Hey, do you remember when mice only had one button in it?
Yeah, sure do. I sure do.
Hey, do you remember Microsoft DOS?
I sure do. Y'all love DosBox? Hey, how's everyone?
Yeah,
doing?
I really love attempting to load this on my Ally and be like, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, I gotta put in a
When it's like, enter a number,
yeah,
and I'm like, uh-oh.
enter 1 through 5, and you're like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I guess I could mention my kerfuffle with it. So I probably spent around 6 hours total with this game, with the first 2 hours being, how do I build a power plant? Because the YouTube video I'm watching, the guy just clicks on the power line buttons and it gives him options. And when I do it, it doesn't. And I'd probably been messing with it an hour or two by the time I posted in the both the TVGP Discord and then the private recording channel. Like, what do I do? And luckily, Boston was like, just hold the button down, dude.
Well, because I had the same thing because
same trouble here as well.
one of the things that I forgot about this game, and one of the things that I fondly remembered after running into that problem, was in 1993, when you're buying a game like this, you get the big box and you take it home and you sit at your computer desk with your giant computer and the big monitor.
Before you even take it home, you're sitting in the car with your parents, and if you're real lucky, you open that thing up beforehand and you start reading that manual before you even get anywhere close to home. And
like the intended experience with this game is you're sitting at your desk, you fire up the game, it starts paused, and you're going through the beginning of the manual step by step through the like walkthrough tutorial, and it's like, okay, see this thing? Click on all this stuff. Check out what that does. Next thing, we're gonna build this. After that,
disasters off, because disasters is a bad idea for a tutorial mission.
And like, I so fondly remember that being my experience, and trying to recreate that during this with having, you know, SimCity's running on my one monitor, the manual that you download from GOG is on the other monitor, and going through
I did the exact same thing.
That walkthrough at the beginning and saying like, oh right, I need to build residential, commercial, industrial. Right, now they need power. Got it. What, now they need water. That's a new thing for 2000. Got it. Like, and going through that step by step and realizing like, that's right, the intention of a more hardcore stimulation game at the time was you're sitting down with the manual while you're playing it. That's the tutorial. It's not just your intention isn't just hop in and play it. I mean, you can.
I remember running into this very similar problem trying to play Ars Arcana for the first time.
Exactly.
That was a nightmare to play without the manual.
Right. And like it's so, I so fondly remember that kind of experience you got playing it like that. It was a little bit easier playing it in 1993 because it really was the next step from the original SimCity. And the original SimCity was also like a massively huge success of a game, and everybody was playing it. And the improvements from 2000 over the original are more than just, hey, instead of it being top-down, like the first one was, now it's isometric. But so many of the improvements are, well, now you can run water lines. and now you can run a lot of the underground stuff. But there's still, like, if you had played that back then, you'd say, like, oh, well, okay, well, it's still sort of largely the same game. Now you can build all of your different types of zones as big or small as you want. It's not those kind of predefined sort of blocks anymore. But, you know, it's largely the same. But I ran into the same thing, too, where I was like, okay, cool, I can lay down power lines. But what do I do? So that was...
It took me a little too long to realize that the manual is probably contained in the files, and then when I found it, I was like, exactly what you said. I was like,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm double screening this bad boy.
Yep.
I've got SimCity on my left monitor, I've got the manual on my right monitor. So if you do decide to join us down this weird rabbit hole, and you get the GOG version, the manual is under extras, just FYI.
The only time I opened the manual was to try and figure out how to make a power plant. Mm-hmm. And their instruction was click on the power lines. It's like power plant.
You're like, I swear to God.
Like, I tried it and I'm like, this is worthless, and didn't look at it again. But you're 100% right. That is how I should have done it, because my cities constantly had water shortages because I could not figure out why me doing plumbing lines everywhere was not working.
Right.
It turns out I've never played this game before. Okay. I played the original SimCity, and I played that a lot. And I guess I haven't changed as much as I think over the years, because I'm pretty sure at the time when I heard SimCity 2000 had you managing water lines, I thought, that's too much for me.
Right. That's a level of complexity I'm not interested in.
Like, that is the funniest thing for me, because, like, if you would ask me 10 years ago, do you like city builder games? The game that pops into my head is SimCity 2000, and I would have said yes.
Sure.
I love city builder games. They're just the right level of complicated to difficult to fun. But then as soon as, like, City Skylines comes along, you know, we have SimCity at Home branch of this happens, that's exactly how I feel. It's like, nope, I'm out. Right. I'm out. You got way too much stuff going on here with traffic flow regulation and everything else that you've got here with everything going on. I'm like, nope, I'm out. Well, this is just about the right level for me.
And to be clear, like, I think, like, what I need to do is just spend an hour, I guess, reading through the manual or watching a YouTube video. Because if I could understand better, like, some of the interaction and things and consequences of what's happening and how the game communicates with me, I think I'd really spend way too much time in this game, because I do like this game, and I agree, like, once you get into the more complex modern ones, they're usually a bit too much for me. But you know, here I'd build a bridge. Oh wait, the bridge automatically, like, went over the entire water thing, and the other side is not level with the bridge. So how do I get a road to work with that? Well, maybe I raise the land. Oh no, that blew up my bridge.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I really do appreciate the kind of step-by-step walkthrough that the manual had for this game. Not only to teach you all of that stuff, but I think there's this kind of fun nature of the manual that I forgot about, which is the kind of, like, small paragraphs of educational blurbs about history, about, like, city-states and the way that people migrated from one landmass to another, and, you know, the indigenous peoples of X, Y, and Z areas. I kind of forgot about all of that, and it was kind of interesting to see. You know, there's an inherent humor in the original game and 2000 here that I think you see pretty quickly in 2000, where, like, one of my favorite things was still, you know, you raise and lower the taxes. Every time you lower them, the city cheers, and every time you raise them, the city goes, boo, boo. You know, like, all of that little stuff. It was kind of interesting to see that carried through with the manual. But Moon, I should say, for both of you, I agree with both of you that I feel like playing this reminded me that I think the original SimCity, for as groundbreaking as it was a little too simplistic. And I think everything that came after SimCity 2000 is too complicated. I think SimCity 2000 for me is the most balanced from like a complexity standpoint, where you're like, yeah, you're dealing with subway lines and you're dealing with water stuff, and there's a little bit more options than in the original game. Of like, now you can have like hydroponic water power plants. You can have a bunch of additional features like that. Like you can have cleaner industries for producing power. You can have more things like bridges. You can have boat shipping and stuff like that. But it isn't the next level, which is like, oh, now I need to, like Moon, like you were saying, dictate traffic flow throughout the heart of my city. I don't want to do that. Like, I want my city to
expressway system and everything else, and
right.
I can't remember. I didn't get far enough to figure out if this one has it, but the subway system gets real messed up as soon as you start introducing that to things for me as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I like about this. Of like, you can get into that in SimCity 2000. Like, you can build expressways and stuff to alleviate that stuff, but it feels like it's this kind of utopian city builder in a lot of regards, especially of, yeah, you want to address the congestion on the roads, you build subways and buses, and then that drastically reduces all of that stuff in this kind of sadly unrealistic utopian sort of way, in a way that I feel like doesn't always get addressed in other more modern city builders that we've kind of addressed. And I think, we jokingly talked about the more modern SimCity stuff, which is, those are largely better left in memory. But I think some of those sort of start focusing a little bit too much on the lives of the Sims themselves in a way that I feel like tries to blend the lines between SimCity and The Sims in a way that I don't think feels satisfying. Because, like, in the beginning of this book is Will Wright telling you, hey, we invented the Sims, and they live in your city, and you need to make all of your Sims happy. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
And that's actually something that most people don't realize, is the game The Sims comes from this.
Yeah. It was a shrunk-down version. It was like, what if you're playing one house in SimCity and not worrying about all of the kind of wider city management, kind of quote-unquote God game sort of stuff? And what if you were just focusing on one family, one city, one block, one town, whatever, as opposed to the kind of larger meta stuff? And I think that's where some of the more modern SimCity stuff gets lost, of like, I don't want to follow one person in my SimCity. I'll go play The Sims for that, which is a series I dearly love. To me, this is like the literally like mile-high view of that. I want to know if my people are happy or displeased, or what they need on a massive scale, but not like an individual scale. That's where some of the later SimCities have been like, Bob Johnson, who lives in 2 Glenbrook Lane, thinks about this. And I was like, I don't care. I genuinely don't care about Bob.
Yeah, it's shocking to me that it's like everything. And again, it's an era I forget about. I remember DOS. I remember modern day operating systems. I forget that mice had one button.
Yeah.
Like, I literally 100% forgot that.
If you, the manual...
I'm sitting there trying to be like, right-click, and it's like, why isn't right-click working? Because I forget this came out at a time when right-click didn't exist.
Yeah, the manual has a really good line of like, if you can... it was like, right-click to do something, or single mouse button if no right click exists. And I was like, oh yeah, right. Macintosh. Yep. Yeah. I remember. So like, the only thing I was finding myself maybe kind of disappointed with SimCity 2000 in sort of remembering 12-year-old me playing this game was I remember adoring this soundtrack. You know, it had those terrible little Sound Blaster speakers that like everybody had connected to my PC. My Sound Blaster card worked like maybe half of the time because I couldn't get the configuration files on DOS or the game working consistently. If I would stop touching it, that would probably help. I remember adoring this soundtrack of like this kind of like fun, jazzy, kind of upbeat sort of thing. Playing the game and sort of facing that was like, boy, that same song again, huh? You got more than 4 songs in this one? Nope. Okay, we're gonna play that first one again, huh? Oh, okay. Like that was kind of a bummer. Of like, I remember the great pixel art. I remember a lot of the fun sound effects. I remember the controls, and eventually, getting my hands on it.
Like the building evolution as well in each of the different zones. That like, I remember being blown away by that when I was a kid. Where it's like, oh look, it's a tiny little house. Wait, no, that tiny little house turned into a mansion.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's 4 squares big instead of 2. And now, wait, why do I have a mega church in the center of my residential neighborhood? What's going on?
Yeah, and like I think that stuff still works really well. Like watching your kind of big shipping vessels, crawl down the river that's cutting through your town, watching these airplanes, slowly creep across the sky. Like I think that stuff still works really, really well. One of the extras for this game is the SimCity Urban Renewal Kit, the Skirk. Which I had so badly wanted when I was a kid, and I remember so clearly when I saw the Urban Renewal Kit thing as an option, loading this up. I wanted it so badly I went to the Babbage's in the mall near me. Shout out to Mentor Mall in Ohio. And I asked the guy behind the counter, I was like, hey, when does this Urban Renewal Kit come out? He like tippy-tappy types on his computer for a little bit and goes, yeah, it was canceled. And I thought for like a decade after that, well, that just never came out. The guy in Babbage's, he had to have known. No, it came out. I just like never saw it for some reason. And the reason why I had wanted it back then was in the Urban Renewal Kit, you could open up the sprites for every building in SimCity and either make a new building of your own design or redo or like work on the sprites in the game, and it would automatically update in the main game. And I thought that was like the coolest thing. And there was a bunch of other stuff too, but like I never got it.
It's like I never knew what it was. I loaded it up to see what it was, and I was like, oh hey, it's a total conversion mod for the SimCity.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what?
It's wild.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be a Simpsons TCM, right?
Oh, 100%.
TCM for this.
I mean, even before the Skirk came out, yeah, like that was definitely the era. All right, any additional thoughts here?
Wait, go ahead.
Oh, I should say it really makes me miss this style of game.
Yeah.
And I wish like. I know I just come on here month after month with excuses, but I've had just a metric ton of things I've had to do this month time-wise. But there's something really therapeutic about this level, I think, of City Builder. Mm-hmm. And I wish I had had more time to figure out what it wanted me to do, because I had just taken the approach of, I'm just going to try stuff and see what happens. And I remember a lot of the newspaper mechanics of these games and games like this back in the day. Like, it'll give you hints, but it also reacts to really minor things that don't always matter. It's kind of how I interpreted a lot of it. But I really love the. I'm just gonna plan out of my city on this patch of land and see what happens.
You know, I
There's a. I'm gonna look for a modern equivalent for this after this
right.
podcast.
City Skylines, one of those is probably
Yes.
your one. You know
Yes.
the thing that I remember the most about this too, you mentioning time for this, is I feel like this was definitely one of those like perfect games as a kid of like I'm just gonna sit here literally all day as long as my parents will let me and just play SimCity. Like I am happy to just spend an entire day working on city after city, sometimes having Godzilla come in and destroy them because that's kind of like a rite of
Oh
passage.
yeah.
But like, there's this element of like, letting the hours slip away as you're designing a city and just kind of letting it run and do its own thing. That I feel like we maybe don't have a super great equivalent right now. As someone who hasn't really checked out too much of City Skylines.
It's kind of like a Legos that comes alive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, I definitely get that feel out of Legos, except if I built something and it grew on its own afterwards, that
right.
would. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyways, Moon, you're up next.
It reminds me of a simpler time.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I said, I think games like City Skylines and that kind of era, I've kind of got scared away from because it's so complicated, and also because it's I feel like it's one of those games like City Skylines is, where if you take a break, you forget half of the things that you're going to be doing
right.
or supposed to be doing. Whereas this is like super duper simple. Like one of you guys were talking about it earlier, but like one of the things I remember is like I put my pipes in and I was like, wait, I need water pumps for all of this stuff.
Yep.
I know I need water pumps for this. And I was like, it took me forever to, again, the click and hold thing where it's like change it to water pumps and put those water pumps there. And then 2 seconds later they were flashing because they needed power. And I was like, oh, they need power too.
That's right.
And like the paralysis choice of like where you're going to start your city is always like a big thing too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, I remember because we all, I'm pretty sure, use at least solid state drives as our primary hard drives on our computers these days. I remember loading it up and like it does the reticulating splines menu in about 0.5 seconds.
I was kind of bummed about that of like, man, these things are too fast. Okay.
Because like it's one of the things that the Maxis games have always been fantastic about was like how much just random jibber jabber can they put into the loading screens.
And for anyone asking what does reticulating splines means, nothing. It's just a term they made up for like, we got to put something here to like sound interesting for world generation. This doesn't mean anything.
Yes. It's literally just a bunch of mumbo jumbo that they put in during like the generation phase.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where like I saw it come up and then go away, and I was like, "Oh,
my
this used
splines!
to take me so long to do it. I don't even get to read any of the funny things anymore."
Yeah.
And then it's like immediately done. It took me too long to figure out that the button in the top right full screen the actual map instead of being like a square within a square kind of thing as well.
Yep. Yeah, because another one like Doom, when we talked about it, hitting the minus key on our keyboards to shrink the window size down to make it run fast enough. You can still do that in this to say like, okay, how small do I have to? Okay, well I can sort of, it's half my screen. It sort of runs on my computer. All right, let's do it. So it's a little bit of a luxury to have it be full screen.
100%. And then it was one of those things as well where like I alt tabbed out of it and like couldn't get it to full screen again. And I kid you not, it was the size of like one of the Discord chat windows.
Right.
And I could not get it to go full size again. And I was like, this is tiny, bro. I don't know how I'm supposed to see this.
Oh, that's so
and
good.
then you realize that, I used to have a monitor twice as big as the one I have now that had that many pixels in it.
Yep. Oh, man.
I don't know. I miss this game. I genuinely miss this game.
Yeah. I think...
I
Oh, go ahead.
I should just say, as I was playing it, like I found myself really wishing this ancient game had multiple monitor support, so I
Yeah.
could put all the graphs to one side and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was really worried going into this game because I felt like this was, for me, definitely going to be one of those games that existed in a perfect state in my memory of being like, well, it was the exact perfect game at the perfect time, and it's the best city builder of all time. And I think going through and playing it, I'm sort of reminded that, like, no, it is actually a really great game, and I mean, tutorial and sort of onboarding issues aside, which I think is, coming into this game, 30 years after it was released is sort of understandable. But I there's still something that's so great about it that I think still persists now, and I think even without the view of 2 years ago SimCity came out, and look at how much wilder and how much better this game is over that one. It's sort of like, no, this game is still great. Like, this is still a really great city builder, and it makes me kind of, I think, like you guys, long for another one of these. And I know there have been a ton on PC for a while, and I'm not a primary PC gamer anymore, which means I've missed, some of them along the way. And, for a lot of reasons, these aren't really that popular or that possible on consoles. But it was definitely one of those games where I revisiting it and being like, yeah, all right. Wild to see a game from my childhood, like Doom when we played it, still holds up to a great degree and still can be a good game. My mouse has like 13 buttons on it nowadays as opposed to one, so it's a lot. It's a much different experience now. But like, also, big shout out again to GOG. This is exactly the experience you want to have with an old game. It fires up DosBox by itself. It is already configured. I don't have to go through. Look, I love tinkering with DosBox as much as everyone else does, but also firing it up in literally 2.5 seconds, and it just works. And it actually has sound effects and sound. It is just completely priceless. So,
yeah.
I was really happy going back to this. I think it still holds up, and I was having a blast, and I shockingly coming out of this being like, yeah, you guys should check out SimCity 2000. This game's still pretty good.
Honestly, they could just do like a UI update on this and incorporate more of the manual in it and add like some modern conveniences and re-release it, and I think it would be a great game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about our next game that we're going to play here. It's going to be The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, originally released on the Super NES. You can probably pick up, I think, virtually any version of this game that I know of, and I think it will be the exact version that we'll be playing. So I would probably recommend the Super NES version myself. I think the Game Boy Advance version, I think it's one of the ones that they came out with, because they came out with like 1 and 2 and like GBA versions of those. I think that's still a good one if that actually came out, or if that's not something that just exists in my memory. But try and play the Super NES one. That should be readily available in a lot of different platforms and avenues. So we're going to play A Link to the Past for the next month. We hope we'll see you all there. Oh, Musum wanted to plug something real quick. I almost forgot. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. I was about to forget too. I have a new album coming out on the next full moon, April 1st. It is called Hauntology. I would really appreciate it if everyone would check it out. It is my take on the trip-hop genre, whereas a lot of the stuff I've done in the past has been purely instrumental. This one 7 out of the 9 tracks have vocalists on it, and I think it's however you've felt about my music in the past, I think this one will be more accessible, and I think it is that way without me sacrificing what I want to create. You can find the Spotify pre-save link on my link tree. Go to linktr.ee/listen to Musim, MUSIM. I would appreciate it if you give it a try.
All right. Check that out over there, and hopefully we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.